Divine doesn't take lightly to those who come against his chosen ones. Whoever disrespects you isn't just playing with you. They're challenging divine authority. Chosen ones, hear me loud and clear. Your enemies didn't just disrespect you, they disrespected the one who sent you. When they mocked heaven's plan. When they tried to break you, they provoked a force so powerful it shakes the foundations of their lives. They thought they were attacking you, but they've unknowingly waged war against divine authority itself. And now, their time has come. The same mouths that spat venom at your name now taste the bitterness of regret. The hands that tried to hold you back are trembling under the weight of consequences they cannot escape. The eyes that once looked down on you are now darting in fear, haunted by the very light they tried to extinguish. Let me tell you this: God doesn't sleep, and he doesn't miss. His justice is swift, precise, and merciless to those who dare touch his anointed. And to you, the unstoppable, undeniable, chosen one, thank you. Whether this is your first time here or you've been a rock-solid supporter from the start, know this: your presence and super gifts are what fuel this mission. You are living proof that the light cannot be dimmed, no matter how hard the darkness tries. If you're ready to rise higher than ever, crush every illusion they've had about you, and step fully into your divine power, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments below. Let the world know you're done shrinking, done staying silent, and done playing small. Now, let's tear through the illusions and take this journey to the next level. Chosen one, your power is not just in what you do, it's in who you are. Your presence alone unsettles them. Your light burns through their illusions, and your purpose terrifies their fragile egos. They mocked you because they couldn't control you. They disrespected you because they couldn't understand you. They tried to tear you down because they feared what you could become. And now, as they watch you rise, they're choking on their own insecurities. The truth is, your very existence has been a mirror, reflecting every weakness they've tried to hide. Every insult, every betrayal, every attack. It was never about you. It was about the darkness in them that your light exposed. God's protection over you isn't just a shield. It's a fire that consumes your enemies. While they plotted against you, heaven was working in your favor. While they celebrated your setbacks, the divine was preparing your comeback. They thought they'd won, but the war was never theirs to begin with. Chosen one, you don't fight alone. You've never been alone. When the Creator is your ally, your enemies don't stand a chance. Every attempt to harm you was a strike against the heavens, and now the bill is due. Their comfort has turned to chaos, their laughter into silence, and their confidence into shame. You see, they underestimated the power of being chosen. They thought you were just another person, just a dreamer, just a voice, just a face in the crowd. But you're more than that. You carry a purpose so divine it shakes the spiritual realm. They didn't realize your silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Your stillness wasn't surrender, it was strategy. Now, as their world crumbles, they finally see what you've known all along. Those who stand against a chosen one are standing in the path of a freight train driven by God Himself. So, chosen ones, rise. You are not just surviving, you're thriving. Their attacks couldn't stop you, their disrespect couldn't diminish you. You are living proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And for those who dared to doubt you, let them watch. Let them witness your rise. Let them choke on the words they once used to tear you down. This is your moment, your season, your victory. And it's all unfolding before their very eyes. If this resonates with your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe. Your rise isn't just a message, it's a movement. Let's shake the ground together, chosen ones. The time is now. Number 1. They mocked you, but now they tremble. Laughter is cheap when it's built on ignorance, but terror is priceless when the truth finally reveals itself. Chosen ones, let me tell you this. The same mouths that once mocked you, ridiculed you, and belittled you are now whispering your name in fear. They laughed because they didn't understand. They mocked because they couldn't control. They dismissed you because your light was too bright for their shadow-filled souls. But now, their laughter has turned to silence, their arrogance to regret, and their once steady steps falter under the weight of what they tried to destroy. They thought your strength was weakness. They thought your patience was passivity. But what they failed to understand was this. Your silence wasn't a sign of surrender. It was a strategy. You weren't losing, you were waiting. While they wasted their energy throwing stones, you were building a fortress. And now that fortress stands tall, casting a shadow over the very ground they thought they ruled. The tables have turned, and the reality of who you are is something they can no longer ignore. You've probably asked yourself, why did they hate me so much? Why did they go out of their way to tear me down when I only ever stood in my truth? The answer is simple, chosen one. Your presence was a reminder of what they lacked. You see, you carry something divine, something unexplainable. It's the kind of energy that doesn't need validation because it radiates from a place they can't reach. When they mocked you, it wasn't because you were wrong, it was because you were right, and the truth was too heavy for their fragile egos to carry. Your existence alone was enough to shatter their illusions, and that terrified them. Let's be clear, they never expected you to rise. They thought their laughter would be the chains that kept you bound, but instead it became the fire that refined you. What they didn't realize is that every mocking word, every insult, every attempt to bring you down was like throwing fuel on a flame they couldn't control. While they were busy laughing, God was busy lifting. While they were plotting your downfall, heaven was preparing your elevation. And now they tremble. They tremble because they see that their mockery didn't break you. It built you. Look around, chosen one. Do you notice the shift? Their tone has changed. Their eyes avoid yours. Their confidence is gone. The same people who once looked down on you now can't even meet your gaze. Why? Because they see it now. They see the strength they once overlooked, the power they tried to undermine, the divine protection that they could never overcome. They mocked what they didn't understand, and now they're haunted by the truth they can't unsee. What they thought was their victory was always their defeat in disguise. But let me tell you something even more powerful. You didn't need their respect then, and you don't need their regret now. Their fear is not your validation. Your worth isn't determined by their acknowledgement. It never was. You're not rising because they doubted you. You're rising because God ordained it. You're not thriving to prove them wrong. You're thriving because you were born to walk this path. Remember this, God's plans for you were never dependent on their approval. Their laughter didn't delay you, and their trembling won't stop you. Think about it. Why else would they have mocked you so hard? People don't attack what isn't a threat. They don't laugh at what they can ignore. Their mockery was proof that you mattered, even if they couldn't admit it. The very fact that they tried so hard to bring you down only confirms how high you were meant to rise. And now, as they stand in the ruins of their own arrogance, they can't escape the reality that you were never beneath them. You were always above. Chosen ones, let this be your motivation. Let their trembling remind you of the power you carry. Let their silence be the anthem of your victory. You are chosen, protected, and unstoppable. They mocked you because they feared you, and now they tremble because they see you. What once made you a target has now made you untouchable. Keep rising, keep shining, and keep walking in your purpose, knowing that nothing and no one can stop what God has set in motion. Their laughter was loud, but your rise is louder. Let them watch. Let them tremble. You don't owe them anything, not an explanation, not an apology, not even your attention. Focus forward, because your journey is just beginning, and their fear is just a reminder of the power they could never take from you. Keep going, chosen one. Your rise is their reckoning, and your victory is already written. Number 2. Your presence exposed their darkness. Darkness doesn't hate the light because it shines. It hates it because it reveals everything it tried to hide. Chosen ones, hear me loud and clear. Your very existence is enough to dismantle every illusion they built around themselves. You didn't have to argue. You didn't need to prove yourself. All it took was for you to stand in your truth, and their carefully constructed lies came crumbling down. They despised you, not because you were wrong, but because you were undeniable. Your presence alone was a threat. It wasn't the words you said or the actions you took. It was the light you carried. That light, chosen one, wasn't just bright. It was blinding. It revealed every insecurity, every unhealed wound, every hidden motive they thought they could keep buried. Your energy is a mirror, reflecting everything they didn't want to see about themselves, and that terrified them. They weren't just running from you. They were running from the truths you brought with you, truths they weren't ready to face. You've probably wondered, why did they treat me this way? Why go out of their way to attack me when I didn't do anything to them? The answer is simple. Your light was a reminder of everything they tried to avoid. While they were content to hide in the shadows, you walked boldly into the light, and that contrast made them uncomfortable. It's easier to lash out at the one who reveals the truth than to confront the lies you've been living. That's why they attacked you, not because of who you are, but because of what you represented. Think about it. People don't tear down what doesn't challenge them. They don't despise what isn't a threat. Your presence alone was enough to make them feel exposed, vulnerable, and inadequate. And instead of seeing your light as an opportunity to grow, they chose to fight it. They chose to fight you. But here's what they didn't realize. Light doesn't need permission to shine, and it doesn't apologize for revealing the truth. No matter how much they resisted, no matter how much they mocked, your light was never going to dim. And now, they can't unsee it. They can't unsee what your presence has shown them. Every time they see you, they're reminded of the cracks in their facade. Every time your name comes up, it's a painful echo of the truths they tried to bury. Your light didn't just expose their darkness. It left a permanent mark on them. They can't erase it. They can't ignore it. And that's why they tremble every time your presence comes near. Chosen one, let me remind you, you are not the problem. They are. Their discomfort isn't a reflection of your flaws. It's a reflection of their fear. Fear of change, fear of growth, fear of accountability. You see, your light is divine, and divine energy doesn't coexist with pretense. It burns through lies. It dismantles facades. It forces the truth to the surface. That's what they hated most about you. You forced them to see themselves, and they weren't ready for the reflection. Their reactions, mockery, disrespect, even betrayal, were nothing more than a defense mechanism. They lashed out because they thought if they could tear you down, they could silence the truth you carried. But the truth isn't something they can destroy, and neither are you. God didn't choose you to be silent. He chose you to disrupt, to awaken, to shine in ways that leave no shadow untouched. And now, as they sit in the mess they tried to blame on you, they're left with one undeniable reality. Your light was never the problem. It was their darkness all along. Let me tell you something even more powerful. Their hatred, their jealousy, their bitterness, it's proof of your impact. People don't hate what doesn't matter. They don't attack what isn't significant. The fact that your presence stirred something in them is the loudest confirmation of your power. They feared you because they couldn't control you. They despised you because they couldn't match you. And now they're haunted by the truth you revealed, a truth they can't escape no matter how hard they try. But here's the beauty of being chosen. You don't need to fight them. You never did. Your existence alone is enough to dismantle their illusions. Your rise is enough to remind them that no amount of darkness can overcome the light. You are chosen, protected, and unstoppable, and there is nothing they can do to change that. So let them tremble. Let them avoid your gaze. Let them sit in the discomfort of their own shadows. That's not your burden to carry. Your only job, chosen one, is to keep shining. Keep walking in your purpose. Keep standing in your truth. Because every step you take forward is a step they'll never forget. Every victory you claim is a reminder of the power they tried and failed to destroy. Number 3, the curse of disrespecting a chosen one. Disrespecting a chosen one is not just an insult. It's an invitation for divine wrath. Chosen ones, listen closely. They thought they could treat you like nothing, dismiss you, betray you, mock your purpose, and walk away untouched. But now, they're paying the price for every word, every action, every betrayal. The universe has seen it all, and it doesn't let these things slide. They didn't just disrespect you. They disrespected the one who called you, the one who placed his light inside of you. And there is no escape from the consequences of coming against God's chosen. When they attacked you, they weren't just picking a fight with a person. They were challenging divine authority. They laughed at your journey, thinking it was meaningless. They mocked your struggles, mistaking them for weakness. But what they didn't understand is this: your life was never in their hands. Your purpose was ordained by God Himself. Their disrespect was like throwing stones at a tidal wave. They couldn't stop what was coming, and now it's crashing back on them with a force they can't handle. They thought their actions were insignificant, that their words would fade into the air. But let me remind you, every action carries weight, and every word is accounted for. The disrespect they showed you didn't just disappear. It unleashed a ripple effect in the spiritual realm. While they were busy tearing you down, they didn't realize they were tearing apart their own foundations. Their actions set things in motion that can't be undone, and now they're feeling the weight of it. What they gave to you is being returned to them tenfold. You've probably asked yourself, why did they treat me like this? Why did they think they could get away with it? The answer is simple. They didn't see your value, but God did. They underestimated you because they were blinded by their own arrogance. They thought you were alone, vulnerable, and easy to take down. What they didn't realize is that you were never walking this journey by yourself. God was with you the entire time, and His justice doesn't miss a single detail. When they disrespected you, they didn't just disrespect a person, they disrespected a divine plan. Look around now. Can you see it? The chaos in their lives, the confusion, the guilt they can't shake. It's all a reflection of the choices they made. The very things they tried to take from you, peace, respect, success, are slipping out of their own hands. Their disrespect planted seeds of destruction in their own lives, and now they're reaping a harvest they never expected. Their plans to hurt you backfired. The traps they set for you have become their own prisons. They thought they could walk away unscathed, but there's no escaping divine justice. God doesn't let harm against his chosen go unanswered. He watches, he balances, and he acts. And now they're realizing that their actions didn't just harm you. They've invited lessons into their own lives that they aren't prepared to face. This isn't punishment, it's correction. The universe is teaching them what they refuse to learn on their own. And let me tell you, the lesson isn't gentle, it's relentless, because they need to feel the full weight of what they've done. Chosen one, this is your reminder. You don't have to seek revenge. You don't need to fight them, defend yourself, or prove anything. God's justice is better than any retaliation you could ever imagine. While they're stumbling under the weight of their own actions, you're rising, untouched and unstoppable. Their disrespect didn't harm you, it revealed them. It exposed their lack of character, their insecurities, and their inability to recognize the divine. It showed the world who they are, while you kept walking in your purpose, protected and chosen. And here's the thing about being chosen. Your presence commands respect, whether they give it willingly or not. Disrespecting you wasn't just a mistake. It was their downfall. Every insult they threw, every attempt to diminish you, was a reminder of the power they couldn't control. And now, as their world begins to crumble, they're haunted by the realization that they disrespected someone who was never in their league to begin with. Let their downfall be a lesson, not just to them, but to everyone watching. You can't harm a chosen one and walk away unchanged. The energy they put out comes back every single time. And for you, chosen one, this is your vindication. You didn't need to stoop to their level, because the divine always had your back. While they're grappling with the consequences of their actions, you're walking forward, stronger and more radiant than ever. Number 4, they're choking on their own lies. Lies are easy to tell, but impossible to outrun, and now their web of deceit has become the chains that bind them. Chosen ones, listen closely. The lies they told about you, the false narratives they spun, and the poison they spread in your name are now suffocating them. Every word they spoke in secret, every attempt to tear you down with deception, is coming back to haunt them. And let me tell you, there's no escape. The truth you carry was too powerful to be silenced, and now the weight of their lies is crushing them under its relentless force. They thought their words would bury you. They thought if they could tarnish your name, they could dim your light. But what they didn't understand is this: lies are temporary, but truth is eternal. Their falsehoods might have gained them applause for a moment, but the truth is, a storm that doesn't just clear the air, it destroys everything in its path. And now, that storm is here. Every lie they told about you is a rope tightening around their own necks. Every word they spoke in malice is an anchor dragging them down into the depths they tried to throw you into. And here's the irony: chosen one. They lied about you because they feared you. They saw your light, your potential, your purpose, and they couldn't stand the thought of you rising above them. So they resorted to the only weapon they had: deceit. But lies are like smoke. They might obscure the truth for a moment, but eventually they dissipate, leaving the undeniable reality exposed. And when the smoke clears, all that's left is the undeniable evidence of your strength and their weakness. Think about it. Why else would they go to such lengths to smear your name? People don't attack what doesn't threaten them. They lied about you because the truth you carried was a mirror they couldn't face. They hoped their deception would shield them from accountability, but instead, it has become the fire that's consuming them. The same mouths that spread lies are now silent, choking on the bitterness of their own words. Chosen one, let this remind you of the unstoppable power of truth. No matter how much they try to bury it, it always rises, just like you. Their lies couldn't stop you then, and their regret can't touch you now. The divine protection over your life ensured that every false word spoken against you would return to its sender, multiplied and unavoidable. That's the justice they cannot escape. Now they're scrambling, trying to rewrite the narrative, trying to undo the damage they caused themselves. But it's too late. The truth is out, and it's louder than their lies ever were. Their deceit has caught up with them, and there's no place to hide. They're suffocating in the very shadows they tried to cast over your life. So, stand tall, chosen one. You didn't have to lift a finger to expose them. The truth did it for you. Their lies were never your burden. They were their own downfall. Let them choke on the lies they told, while you rise higher than they ever imagined. This is your time, and no amount of deceit can stop what God has ordained. Keep moving forward, unbothered, unshaken, and undefeated. The truth has already won. Number 5. The weight of what they've done. They disrespected you like you were nothing, but now their own actions are coming back to crush them. The storm they created isn't something they can outrun. It's something they must endure. Chosen ones, let me tell you something undeniable. The universe doesn't forget, and God doesn't ignore. Every word they spat, every scheme they devised, every ounce of disrespect they threw your way, it's all coming back to them, heavier than they could ever imagine. They thought they could walk away unscathed, but the weight of their choices is now the storm they have no shelter from. When they disrespected you, they didn't just harm you. They set off a chain reaction in the spiritual realm. What they didn't understand was this: disrespecting a chosen one isn't just a mistake. It's a challenge to divine authority. They thought they could mistreat you, dismiss you, and move on like nothing happened. But now, their world is unraveling, and they're starting to feel the crushing weight of what they've done. It's no coincidence that their once steady lives are now filled with chaos and confusion. What they planted in darkness is now blooming in plain sight, and the harvest isn't what they expected. Think about it, chosen one. How many times did they treat you as if you were disposable? How many times did they walk away as though their actions carried no consequences? They believed their words were just words, their actions just fleeting moments. But every insult, every slight, every betrayal was a seed sown in the soil of karma. And now, that soil has turned against them. They thought they could bury their wrongs, but they didn't realize that seeds grow, whether in light or in shadow. And the roots of their disrespect are now wrapping tightly around their own lives, choking the very peace they once took for granted. You might ask, why didn't they see this coming? How could they be so blind? The answer is simple. Arrogance blinds and pride deafens. They were so busy gloating, so wrapped up in their own egos, that they never stopped to consider the cost of their actions. They mocked you because they thought they were untouchable. They walked away because they thought they were invincible. But now, they're learning the hard way that no one escapes the weight of their own choices. Here's the beauty of being chosen. You didn't have to lift a finger. You didn't have to fight them, argue with them, or retaliate. The storm they're facing isn't your doing, it's their own. What they meant to harm you has boomeranged back to them, and now they're drowning in the very chaos they tried to throw at you. Their guilt, their shame, their sleepless nights. It's all a reflection of the harm they caused. And you? You're rising above it all, untouched, unstoppable, and covered in divine favor. So, chosen one, let this be your reminder. You don't have to carry the burden of their actions. That weight isn't yours, it's theirs. Let them feel it. Let them wrestle with the storm they created. You are protected, guided, and chosen. Their disrespect didn't define you. It refined you. And now, as they struggle to bear the weight of their choices, you are walking lighter, freer, and stronger than ever before. Let them face their storm. You've already won. Number 6. Your success is their punishment. Success isn't just your victory, it's their defeat, a living reminder that every stone they threw at you became the foundation of your rise. Chosen one, hear me. Every single win you've earned is cutting them deeper than any words ever could. While they tried to break you, God was building you. And now, your success is the loudest revenge, a daily reminder of the power they tried and failed to destroy. They're watching you, and don't be fooled for a second. They see you. They see your glow, your strength, your elevation. They might not admit it, but behind closed doors, their envy is eating them alive. Every step you take forward, every goal you crush, every milestone you hit is a dagger to their pride. Because deep down, they know the very things they thought would stop you only made you stronger. Remember when they laughed, when they whispered, when they said you'd never make it? Those moments weren't just attempts to bring you down. They were desperate attempts to convince themselves that you wouldn't rise. They needed you to fail because your success would shine a light on everything they lacked. And now, here you are, thriving while they stumble, building while they watch from the sidelines, and living in the victory they said you'd never achieve. You see, chosen one, your success is so much more than personal achievement. It's proof. Proof that their words carried no weight. Proof that their efforts to stop you were powerless against divine will. Proof that no weapon formed against you would ever prosper. They hate to see it, but they can't look away. Your rise has become their reckoning. And don't think for a moment that they're unaffected. Their silence, their avoidance, their sudden absence from your life, it's all the evidence you need. Every win you claim is a reflection of their failure to destroy you. Every time you step into your purpose, it's like you're shouting to the world, I'm still here and I'm unstoppable. And that's what haunts them most. They threw everything they had at you, and yet you still rose. But here's the truth, chosen one. Your success isn't just about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself and to the world that God's plans for you cannot be derailed. Your journey isn't defined by their doubts. It's defined by your determination. Your story isn't about their attempts to break you. It's about your unshakable strength to keep going. And now, every time they see you shine, they're reminded of the power they could never take from you. So keep rising, keep winning. Let your success speak louder than any words ever could. Because while they're busy watching and seething, you're building a life they'll never forget. And that, chosen one, is the ultimate punishment. Your victory is written, and they can't rewrite it. Let them watch. Let them envy. Let them tremble. Your success is God's answer to their disrespect, and it's only just beginning. Number 7. They played themselves. A trap laid for the chosen always becomes a pit for the fool who set it. Chosen ones, let's make one thing crystal clear. They thought they were clever, thought they had you figured out, thought they could outsmart you. But all they really did was outsmart themselves. Every plan they crafted in secret, every move they made to see you fall, every lie they whispered to tarnish your name. It's all come back to bite them. They played the game, but they forgot one crucial fact. God doesn't lose, and neither do his chosen. They thought they were weaving a web to catch you, but what they were really doing was tying knots around their own feet. The arrogance. They believed they were 10 steps ahead, believing their own lies while underestimating the divine hand guiding your every move. What they didn't see was that while they were busy plotting, you were busy growing. While they were scheming, God was strengthening you. Every time they pushed you down, heaven pulled you up higher. And now, the very ground they thought they stood on is crumbling beneath their feet. Here's the irony they'll never admit. You were never their competition. They were their own downfall. Their arrogance convinced them they could outmaneuver destiny. But how can you outmaneuver a plan that was written by God himself? They thought they had you in checkmate, but they couldn't see that the whole board was already yours. Every step they took against you was a step deeper into their own destruction. Now, they're reaping what they sowed, and let me tell you, it's ugly. Have you noticed how the same traps they set for you have become the chains that bind them? Their words, their schemes, their attempts to humiliate you, they're all turning into mirrors, reflecting their own failures back at them. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The harder they tried to break you, the more they broke themselves. Their efforts to dim your light only exposed the cracks in their own character. And now, they're the ones fumbling, struggling to hold it together while you stand stronger than ever. Here's the truth, chosen ones. Their arrogance was their undoing. They underestimated you because they couldn't fathom the depth of your strength, the weight of your purpose, or the power of your protection. They thought they could manipulate, deceive, and overpower you. But what they didn't realize was this: you don't fight alone. You never have, and you never will. God himself has been your shield, and every attack they launched against you has been met with divine force they can't comprehend. So let them deal with the mess they made. Let them sit in the ruins of their own arrogance. That's not your battle anymore. It never was. You've already won, not by playing their games, but by staying true to your path. The beauty of it all is that you didn't even have to lift a finger. They did this to themselves. They thought they were setting the stage for your downfall, but instead, they handed you the spotlight. Chosen ones, keep rising. Let their failures fuel your motivation. Let their regret remind you of the power you carry. And above all, remember this: the traps they set only made you stronger. And now, you're untouchable. Keep walking, keep shining, and let the world watch as their games fall apart while your victory unfolds. Number 8. They can't look you in the eye. Shame doesn't whisper, it screams in the silence of a stolen glance. Chosen ones, let's talk about it. The same people who mocked you, underestimated you, and treated you like you were nothing are now the ones who can't even look you in the eye. Why? Because every time they see you, they're reminded of everything they tried to deny. Your presence doesn't just haunt them, it confronts them. Their guilt and shame aren't quiet passengers anymore. They're loud, heavy chains dragging behind them everywhere they go. They used to stand tall, didn't they? Acting like they were above you, like they held all the power. They looked down on you because it made them feel big. But now, they shrink in your presence. They can't meet your gaze because your very existence is a reminder of their failures. The lies they told, the disrespect they threw, the mockery they thought would break you. It's all coming back to them now, and they can't escape it. Think about it. How does it feel to know you've thrived despite every obstacle they threw in your path? They see you now, stronger, brighter, untouchable, and it eats them alive. Every word they use to tear you down is echoing in their minds, but this time, the joke's on them. Your success isn't just their regret, it's their punishment. They can't laugh now because the tables have turned, and all they're left with is the bitter taste of their own arrogance. And let's be real, they feel exposed. Every time they see you rise, it's a reminder that their efforts to destroy you only made you stronger. They can't stand tall in your presence because they know deep down that they were wrong. Their pride won't let them admit it, but their eyes can't lie. Their averted glances, their uncomfortable silences, their quick exits, they all scream the same thing. They know they failed. But here's the beautiful part, chosen one. You don't even have to say a word. Your success speaks louder than any argument ever could. Your glow, your confidence, your resilience, it's all proof that they were never as powerful as they thought. They tried to break you, but all they did was build you. And now your presence is a mirror reflecting every crack in their character. You might wonder, why don't they just apologize? Why can't they admit they were wrong? Because to admit it would mean facing themselves, and that's something they're not ready to do. It's easier for them to look away, to avoid you, to pretend you don't exist. But let me tell you this, your light is impossible to ignore, and your presence is unforgettable. So let them look away. Let them carry the weight of their own shame. That's not your burden to bear. You've already won, chosen one, and they know it. Keep walking tall, because your rise is the justice they can't escape. Your presence is the victory, and their regret is the proof. Number 9, they're losing everything they tried to take from you. What they thought they could steal from you has become the very thing slipping through their fingers. What they sowed in disrespect, they now reap in despair. Chosen ones, hear me loud and clear. The ones who tried to strip you of your dignity, your success, your respect, they're now watching their own lives unravel. What they thought they could take without consequence is now slipping from their grasp, piece by painful piece. Their disrespect wasn't just an insult, it was a seed they planted in the soil of divine justice. And now that seed has grown into a harvest of loss, and there's no escaping the consequences. They thought they could break you. They thought their words, actions, and betrayal would leave you shattered and small. But instead of destroying you, they've brought destruction upon themselves. You see, when someone tries to harm a chosen one, they're not just fighting you, they're fighting against the divine plan over your life. And that's a battle they can never win. Their arrogance blinded them to the reality that your purpose is protected, your success is ordained, and your dignity is something no human can erase. Look at them now, the same people who laughed at your struggles, who celebrated your setbacks, who mocked your journey. They're the ones scrambling to hold on to the very things they tried to deny you. Their confidence is crumbling, their plans are falling apart. What they took from you in disrespect is returning to them as failure, regret, and loss. The universe has a perfect sense of balance, and every action they took against you has set into motion a reckoning they cannot avoid. Chosen one, let me ask you this. Do you see how the tables have turned? The ones who tried to steal your success are now watching their own slip away. The ones who disrespected your name are now struggling to salvage their own. They thought they could manipulate, undermine, and control you, but they never understood the divine protection over your life. What they tried to rob from you was never theirs to take, and now their own hands are empty. They can't figure it out. They can't understand why everything is falling apart, why their plans aren't working, why the very things they thought they had control over are spiraling out of reach. But you and I both know why. You cannot curse what God has blessed. You cannot destroy what the Creator has ordained, and you cannot steal from someone who walks in divine favor. So let them lose. Let them struggle. Let them feel the weight of their own actions. That's not your burden to carry. You've already risen above their schemes, and now the universe is balancing the scales in ways they never saw coming. Their disrespect has come full circle, and while they're busy grappling with their losses, you're standing taller, stronger, and more victorious than ever. Remember this, Chosen One. The world may try to take from you, but what is meant for you will always find its way back. Their loss is not your concern. Your rise is your reward. Keep moving forward. Let their losses serve as a reminder of the power of divine justice. You are unstoppable, unshakable, and chosen, and no one can take that from you. Number 10. They're haunted by their own actions. The weight of betrayal is not felt in the moment. It lingers, a shadow that follows them for life. Chosen ones, let me tell you this. The ones who disrespected you, betrayed you, and mocked you are now prisoners of their own choices. They thought their actions were fleeting, that their words would fade into the air. But what they didn't realize is this. Every insult, every betrayal, every calculated act of disrespect is now a ghost they can't outrun. It's the soundtrack of their sleepless nights, a haunting reminder of the day they dared to cross someone protected by divine hands. They didn't see it then, but their actions were never without consequence. They believed they could mock you, tear you down, and walk away untouched. But disrespecting a chosen one isn't just a mistake. It's a spiritual debt that must be paid. And now, as they sit in the silence of their own guilt, the weight of what they've done is suffocating. Their choices have carved permanent scars into their lives, scars that will never heal because they can't escape the truth of who you are and who they've become. You see, they were so blinded by their arrogance that they didn't understand the cost of their actions. They laughed at you, dismissed you, and betrayed your trust, thinking it made them powerful. But power built on the destruction of others is nothing more than an illusion. And now that illusion is crumbling. They can't silence the memory of how they treated you. They can't erase the image of your strength, your resilience, your rise despite every attempt they made to hold you down. Their minds are now a battlefield, and the enemy they face is the reflection of their own choices. Think about this, Chosen One. Why else would they avoid you now? Why do their words falter when your name comes up? Why do their eyes dart away when you enter the room? It's because your presence is a reminder of the truth they tried to ignore. You don't even have to confront them. Your existence does that for you. Every step you take forward echoes with the reality of who they are and the damage they've done. And here's the harsh truth they're realizing. There is no undoing what they've done. The pain they caused you has become their pain now. The disrespect they showed you has come back as regret they can't escape. What they thought was a moment of triumph over you has turned into a lifetime of consequences. God saw every tear you cried, and now those tears have turned into storms in their lives. Let this be your motivation, Chosen One. While they are haunted by their actions, you are liberated by your purpose. While they replay their mistakes, you rise above them. You were never defeated by their disrespect. You were refined by it. And now, their regret is your victory, and their haunting is your reminder that God's justice is eternal. Keep walking in your truth, knowing that the ghosts of their actions will never stop following them, while you move forward, free and unstoppable. Number 11. They're watching you, hoping you'll fail. The greatest torment for your enemies isn't your fall, it's watching you rise while they sink in their own bitterness. Chosen ones, let me tell you the truth. They're watching you. The very people who mocked you, disrespected you, and hoped to see you crumble now spend every waking moment glued to your every move. They pretend not to care, but their obsession betrays them. They're waiting for you to stumble, desperate for any sign of failure. But all they see is your unshakable rise, and it's tearing them apart from the inside out. They once thought you'd fade into obscurity. They believed their lies, their sabotage, and their mockery would silence you for good. Yet, here you are, stronger, brighter, and more victorious than they ever imagined. Your resilience is their nightmare. Every step you take forward is a reminder of their failure to break you. Every win you claim feels like a dagger to their egos, a brutal reminder that their efforts were futile. Why are they so obsessed with you? Because your success exposes their mediocrity. They hoped that without their approval, you'd crumble. They thought your silence meant defeat. What they never understood is that your strength comes from something far greater than their opinions. You're not fueled by their validation. You're fueled by a divine purpose. And that purpose is why their obsession is slowly destroying them. Think about it. How exhausting must it be to live like that? To spend every day consumed by someone else's life? Their fixation isn't just pathetic, it's proof of your superiority. While they're stuck in the shadows, hoping for your downfall, you're out there conquering mountains. While they waste time watching you, you're out there building, thriving, and shining in ways they can't even comprehend. Their hatred is proof of your power. Chosen ones, let me remind you, their obsession with your failure isn't your burden, it's their punishment. Every second they spend hoping you'll fall is another second they waste in misery. They're trapped in a cycle of bitterness, unable to escape the reality of your rise. And here's the beauty of it. You don't even have to acknowledge them. Your success is the loudest response you'll ever need. Every milestone you reach, every goal you crush, every moment of joy you experience is a testament to the fact that their hate couldn't stop you. So let them watch. Let them sit in their obsession, waiting for a stumble that will never come. Let them choke on their bitterness as you continue to rise higher than ever. You are chosen, protected, and unstoppable. And their fixation on your downfall? It's nothing more than the proof of how powerless they are against your destiny. Keep shining, chosen ones. Let their obsession fuel your motivation, and remember this: your rise isn't just your victory, it's their reckoning. Let them watch, because they can't stop what God has already set in motion. Number 12. God's judgment is unfolding. God doesn't sleep, and He doesn't forget. Every tear you shed has been counted, and every wound they caused is being avenged. Chosen ones, hear this loud and clear. The divine justice you've been waiting for is not just coming, it's here. Every betrayal, every insult, every attempt to tear you down has been seen, recorded, and answered. God is not blind to what they've done, and His judgment is unfolding before your very eyes. The same hands that hurt you are now trembling, the same mouths that mocked you are now silent, and the same hearts that carried pride are now heavy with regret. This isn't coincidence, it's consequence. They thought they could escape the ripple effect of their actions. They believed their schemes would go unnoticed, that their lies would never come to light. But God doesn't let His chosen ones suffer without a purpose, and He doesn't let their enemies go unchecked. What they thought they'd buried is rising to the surface. Their laughter is fading, their arrogance is crumbling, and the walls they built to hide their guilt are falling apart brick by brick. You don't have to lift a finger, Chosen One, because the divine is handling what you cannot. Every sleepless night you endured, every moment you doubted yourself, every time you questioned why it had to be you, God was working behind the scenes, preparing the reckoning they never saw coming. Let me remind you, the suffering you faced wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God doesn't let his chosen ones remain in the hands of their enemies for long. He allows it only to strengthen you, to refine you, and to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. And now, the tables have turned. Look around. Their lives are unraveling in ways they never expected. The peace they once had is gone, replaced by chaos they can't control. The victories they celebrated at your expense are now hollow, meaningless, and fleeting. This isn't just karma, it's divine justice, tailored specifically for the ones who thought they could harm a chosen one without consequence. What they sowed in your life is now growing in theirs, and the harvest is bitter. Chosen ones, I want you to understand this. Your victory is inevitable, not because of anything you've done, but because of who stands behind you. When God fights for you, no weapon formed against you can prosper. The suffering they caused is being returned to them tenfold, not because you wished for it, but because justice demands it. This is the law of the universe, the unshakable truth that no one escapes accountability. But here's the most powerful part. You don't have to wait for their apology or their acknowledgement. Your victory doesn't depend on their regret. It's already written. You are chosen, and with that comes divine protection, favor, and purpose. While they face the weight of their actions, you're rising into the fullness of who you were meant to be. So, stand tall, chosen one. Let their suffering be a reminder that God's justice is active, real, and unrelenting. Your tears didn't fall in vain, your pain wasn't without purpose, and your rise is undeniable. Walk forward with your head held high, because your victory isn't just coming, it's already here. Rise, chosen ones. Lift your heads high and stand in the power they could never break. They underestimated you, mocked you, tried to silence you, but now they can't deny the unstoppable force you've become. You've won, not because of their failure, but because God fights for his own. Every battle, every tear, every trial has led to this moment. Now it's your time to rise and walk fully in your purpose. If you're ready to claim your victory, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a 77 in the comments below. Let the world know the chosen ones are unstoppable.